Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mr. JK, and today we're not going to be playing a game for the first time ever. I'm actually going to be reacting to a specific video, or more or less responding to a specific video. Now, I will be the first to admit this. I'm not good when it comes to like. Oh shit. The video we're going to be looking at is Noodles reacts to Steinixo's Luffy versus Naruto video. Now, here's the thing. I know, like, I'm 100% completely new to, like, this whole versus battle community thing. As a matter of fact, I'm, like, the last person anybody wants to go to when citing sources for, like, a versus battle video. I'm just looking at this and giving my straight-up opinion. Now, as for these two series main characters that are going up against each other, I'll be the first to admit this. I'm a huge fan of One Piece, but I will state the obvious, and get this out of the way for any like Naruto fanboys that might come into my chat. I've actually seen Naruto way before. Well, actually, technically speaking, I did see One Piece before that, but that was during like the 4Kids era. But I've seen Naruto way before I got into seeing One Piece, or at least getting reintroduced to One Piece the proper way. Now, for a lot of people that probably don't know this, the way I got into One Piece is not like everybody else, where they just straight up went subs. I actually watched One Piece when it came out in dub, specifically for like Funimation's dub, not specifically like the 4Kids version, but I did at some point trans over to looking at it in sub. Now, whether I'm into subs or dubs doesn't really matter. Like, to me, I'm just One Piece enjoyer. Shucks. At occasions, I actually do like read the chapter, so I'm all caught up here with One Piece. So I'm in the current arc that's going on right now, which is Egghead. I'm not gonna get into that right now. Well, we won't be seeing that, hopefully, in this video. Hopefully. I'm not entirely certain. Now, I have sort of watched this video before, and I actually tried to record this video, but like a dumbass, I accidentally hit the stop button, and I couldn't do it for like the longest time. But after a while, looking at this video, giving my opinions, giving my thoughts, questions I might have. Noodles, if you're watching this, because I don't know if you're even remotely familiar with me. I doubt you are, because I'm a very, 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 very small YouTuber. Small upstart, technically speaking. I actually got my start back in like 2015. I'm actually gonna skip to where he starts.
It's pretty cool. What's up, Saucy? Him is because he knows a bit of One Piece scaling, and I just wanted someone else to fill the gap of conversation. That way I didn't. Hashi/Dante on Discord and his statements about the stock market. What did he say?
I don't know if he's going to bring this up, but I do got to state this. Noodles doesn't know too much about One Piece. So that's why I say, I was like, I'll be fair to him. I'm not going to hold no ill will towards the guy. He doesn't know much. But he has a friend that has a little bit of One Piece knowledge. A little.
What the hell?
I don't know, Hashi.
That JG man's on point. Surfbone houses real. Yeah, houses is real. Surfbone.
Oh, what's up? What's up, Surfbone? I mean, L-Bone.
Joke videos. You have to like talk about sex.
Yeah, maybe. Naruto beats Luffy is only multi-continental. Interesting. One Piece is overrated. Right. Large planetarium. Yeah. Anyway, let's just get right into this, boys.
Guys, Steinixos here. So today we'll be talking about current Wano Luffy versus adult Naruto. Now, right off the bat, I know a lot of people come into this discussion with deeply entrenched beliefs about who they think should win. Now, regardless of your personal feelings on the matter, my goal for this discussion is merely to try to...
Actually, no, I'll do one better. I'll leave a description for both Steinixos and Noodles as well. So that way Yeah, so that way you guys can check these out, including the original video here.
Present both characters as accurately as possible and then give my take on this topic. And of course, as usual, there'll be no equalization between verses because Haki and Chakra are two separate things. So with that said,
pause immediately. Yeah, we already have a big issue here. If you aren't equalizing anything, then we're already at a non-starter, right?
To answer that question, because I saw this one coming, I think he slightly misheard correctly. What he said specifically was that there will be no equalization between the two, between Haki and Chakra. Not necessarily that there is no equalization at all, just that between the two versus like power systems, there will be no equalization in that regard. Not necessarily that, because they're gonna get into like weird arguments with like physics and shit, and I'm like, that's really a non-argument. In my opinion,
yeah, like the whole like equalizing thing is a choice that like power scalers do in the beginning of a debate, just so it makes more sense to have the hypothetical matchup. If you're not agreeing to equalize things, then I mean, yeah, a lot of things aren't going to work cross-verse because we simply just don't know if they would, and that's fine. You can have a conversation like that. It's just generally I prefer to equalize things just so things are kept simplistic, like Ki and Chakra. But yeah, like if you want to say like this ability wouldn't work cross-verse or whatever, and we're not equalizing.
I think he gets it. But it's like
stats or not stats, but equal.
Like I think like that's kind of I think his friend slightly over exaggerating a little bit.
Equalizing like energy or whatever that these random power scaling anime have. That's fine. I just don't personally like it. But yeah.
I was thinking it's like valid for like any other assumptions you want to go in here with this, but it's gonna get like more convoluted if we have to discuss like can Luffy touch a shadow clone? You know?
Yeah,
maybe stuff like that is now in question, right? So
yeah.
I think generally speaking, the physics would work. It's just that certain abilities won't. And this is something I can slightly agree with Steineck says, and I was like, I would have probably gone into detail about what you meant by that, not necessarily. I would have gone into detail about what you meant by that, not necessarily saying there'll be no equalization. But I think he's doing it with the assumption that, well, he's actually is doing it with the assumption that he's talking to his core audience that are looking at his video, that has seen his other videos. You know what he means.
I would think so, but yeah, I would think.
I'm gonna pause right here. Hello?
Yeah, these waters.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay. Hi. Don't worry, I'm back. Let's continue.
I think so. Because they are just physical things. They're just really weak.
Yeah. But
yeah.
It is something now that we have to like talk about, especially since Luffy is like rubber as well, right? So it's like,
yeah,
how does that like play into like Frog Kumite or whatever? I think for the rest of this video we should respond to the arguments as if he is equalizing. Or it's just gonna get
we'll see.
Really
we'll see.
weird.
We'll see how he goes.
That's gonna be a bit mistake.
But yeah, we can talk about both ways.
Get into the video.
Yeah.
Now, just as a gentle reminder, I think we should quickly go over the difference between attack potency versus destructive capacity. Now, destructive capacity typically describes the scale of an attack, like how big of an area can this attack damage.
Okay,
so,
fair.
for example, here we have the buggy bomb,
Okay,
which is
fair.
a cannonball explosive that can destroy multiple buildings with ease. And Buggy specifically tells us that it can destroy an entire small village, which for now we'll use as synonymous as a small town in one shot. So assuming a standard small town size, we would say a Buggy Bomb has a small town level destructive capacity because it can literally destroy a small town in one shot. And note carefully, the in one shot part is very important because
I'm recording.
Because obviously, less powerful explosives could also destroy a small town if you use multiple of them, but that would be the combined destructive capacity of all the explosive used, not the destructive capacity of any single explosive.
I really hope
now,
this
attack
video isn't
potency,
building
on the
up
other
like
hand,
Kid Naruto
speaks
and
the
stuff.
effectiveness of an attack.
I hope he just
How it
goes
relates
straight
to
into the
destructive
hardest.
capacity is that the attack potency of an attack would be the destructive capacity that the attack is equivalent to. So for example, here we have Luffy casually kicking
He's being too wordy with this. All you have to say, destructive capacity is how much you can destroy. AP is how potent your attacks are. It's the only difference.
It's like,
Yeah, but not a lot of people are gonna get that immediately. So he has to use this panel right here as an example and explain why this happens, right? Because that'll be the equivalent. I get what he's saying, because it's like, well, why don't you just make your argument and make this a lot easier instead of just like yapping off so much? But it's like, well, for this particular case study, and this is the case with One Piece in general, and this is something I personally kind of got a slight issue with it in this regard. So in this case, that you can't really explain how the power system in One Piece works without getting a little bit wordy in some cases. So in this case, well, got to use an example here because, and as a matter of fact, you can look at this as a setup for how he scales One Piece characters. Like, for example, like for anyone who doesn't know, when it comes to power scaling with One Piece, the thing I've noticed a lot with it is that you can't really scale it like you would normally with a series like, say, Naruto, where everything's practically goddamn easy and simplistic for you to understand. When it comes to a series like One Piece, it's a little bit more complicated in terms of like how its power scaling works. A good example would be a good way to put about it. It's like, it's kind of like, you know how One Piece is in that weird category where it like can go both ways. So for anyone who doesn't know, there's two ways to power scale as far as I know. There's lore-based power scaling, which is fully reliant on the narrative. With, like, let's say multiple people are talking about the same statement or re-emphasizing the feat or something like that. Or they'll re-emphasize until a feat similar to it is shown. That would be lore-based power scaling. For like regular old stereotypical power scaling, like you got a lot of evidence to go off of. Like, for example, like say a character like is able to destroy a city in one go, and they demonstrate it, so we know for a fact they have the power to do it. Where it's simple in that regards but for like One Piece, it's not as simple as it seems. It's not as simple as it seems.
Like, for those who don't know, destructive capacity would be like,
in some cases, it's not as simple.
Like the amount of like bills you actually have, like dollar bills, while AP is like your credit card.
Yeah, I guess that's a funny way of putting it.
I was like, that's a weird way of putting it. I don't know if that actually works, but more power to you.
Buggy and clearly hurting him. Now we know that Buggy is durable enough to take a Buggy Bomb head on without any damage whatsoever. So even though this kick from Luffy wouldn't have a literal small town era of effect of a Buggy Bomb, we know that it is still at least as strong as the Buggy Bomb, being that it is able to hurt
small village
Buggy,
level
who can
AP,
tank a Buggy
correct.
Bomb with no damage. So we would say that Luffy's kick has an at least small town level attack potency. So an attack doesn't literally need to destroy a specific large area for us to say that it has a specific attack potency. And an attack with a much smaller area of effect can be much stronger than an attack with a much larger area of effect. Now let us talk about the combatant's physical parameters, starting off with stamina. So in terms of stamina, what we are generally asking is how long...
I really don't think stamina is going to play much of a factor in this fight, man.
And
honestly,
you might be a little surprised in some cases. It might not. Who knows?
Like the stamina feats of Naruto are pretty crazy too. So this will.
Yeah, but Luffy also has some stupid ass stamina feats.
Be interesting.
Yeah. Like since he's bringing up Naruto having some crazy stamina feats, Luffy has some stupid stamina feats too.
Let's see.
This argument does just kind of come down to speed and AP, but obviously I do hope he brings up something new or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
How long can they fight for while going all out? Now, given that most ninjas in the Naruto world rely on jutsus, their stamina is largely dependent on their chakra reserves, which is the energy source needed.
And their chakra manipulation. It's not just.
I don't think chakra manipulation. He's talking about specifically stamina use, not necessarily the manipulation. Though I can get where he's coming from with that, because yeah, you would think because you gotta well, I tell you, technically it'll be chakra control, not manipulation. I think the correct word you look for is control, not manipulation. So that way you're not like eating up so much stamina trying to put it into like one specific move. But I get where he's coming from with that.
Reserve how much chakra you can manipulate.
But I think he's taking that into account too.
You can have a lot of chakra and like lose a lot of it if you don't have good chakra manipulation. That was what was happening in Naruto in Part 1. So yeah, having reserves is important, but chakra manipulation is just as important.
Baby's first mistake with Naruto is thinking that like chakra and strength is like 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Every time.
Their stamina is largely dependent on their chakra reserves, which is the energy source needed for these jutsus. And at an even deeper level, regular chakra itself is a specific energy that is formed from the specific combination of an individual's spirit or mental energy and their physical energy. So you can see at a fundamental level, chakra is intertwined with a ninja's stamina. Now Naruto being a Uzumaki means that he was already born with a chakra reserve that is higher than most ninjas. Kakashi describes Naruto without even taking into account the Nine-Tailed Fox as having 4 times more chakra than himself. And when the Nine-Tailed Fox is taken into account, Kakashi describes Naruto as having 100 times more chakra than himself. So even as a child, Naruto is able to carry out the high chakra cost multi-shadow clone jutsu to produce thousands of clones of himself.
I'd like to pause for a second. Both for the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, for one, thank you Ken Rock for the $2.
Hell
It is indeed
yeah.
stream day.
Stream day.
And I guess the criticism I have of this video structure so far is that he's talking about parameters rather than just talking about both characters. So we kind of have to like especially like right now, I don't know if he's trying to establish what stamina is still, or if he's trying to make an argument for Naruto.
I think he's
making an argument. Well, he's not unique in that regards, because I think I've seen a couple people. I can't name them off jump, but I have seen videos of people laying out a foundation like that. Like you can look at this setup as like a foundation, like establishing just what type of character, what these two can do, like what these two are capable of.
He's gonna build into it, but we'll see.
That's basically it. Yeah, he's building into it.
Yeah, he's talking about like the whole like hundreds of clones thing.
Elite produced thousands of clones of himself, when this would be impossible even for an elite ninja such as Kakashi, who would struggle to produce and maintain even a few. And then, in addition to this, Naruto also gained the use of Sage Chakra. So remember, Regular chakra is an energy formed from the specific combination of an individual's physical plus mental energy. And then sage chakra is an even more powerful form of chakra, in which you take your regular chakra derived from your internal physical plus mental energy and then add the energy from your external surroundings, called nature energy, to it. As Gamakishi.
Yeah, you just basically add nature energy to your normal chakra, and then it becomes sage chakra or sage energy.
Describes, it is like adding mint flavor to your already chocolate and vanilla ice cream. Now added stamina, due to the fact that this form of chakra incorporates an external energy source to the mixture, thus his internal physical and mental energies aren't used up as quickly, and the sage chakra also increases his recovery rate. So these factors together is why in the Fourth Great Ninja War, for example, after the Allied Shinobi forces had dropped from their initial 80,000 to 40,000 troops by the end of the first day, Naruto was able to share his chakra with all these remaining 40,000 members. Even Hashirama was surprised by
that is a stamina feat.
Commented that Naruto with Kuruma had nearly as much chakra as himself. And remember, Hashirama is someone who could fight for a full day against Madara. And even when Naruto is low on chakra, he's willing to duke it out hand to hand until he can no longer
add nature energy to your normal chakra, and then it becomes sage chakra or sage energy.
Yeah.
No,
it is like adding mint flavor to your already chocolate and vanilla ice cream. Now added stamina, due to the fact that this form of chakra incorporates an external energy source to the mixture, thus his internal physical and mental energies aren't used. Even Hashirama was surprised by this and commented that Naruto with Kuruma had nearly as much chakra as himself. And remember,
I'm missing something. Yeah, this. At the end of a battle that lasted a whole day, Madara's back touched the ground for the very first time. So yeah, that was indeed a whole day because it's right here. It's right here. So it wasn't multiple, it was just one.
Hashirama is someone who could fight for a full day against Madara. And even when Naruto is low on chakra, he's willing to duke it out.
Yeah, well, he had it on screen, so yeah, that invalidates what you just said.
Hand to hand until he can no longer stand. Now Luffy is also a stamina powerhouse.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny that nobody ever makes the tree argument. That's just straight out of our calls or whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
I know what they're referring to because I believe I saw it in a Set the Programmer video where you mentioned that Madara conjured up the I forgot if it was called the chakra tree, and then it like spread its roots throughout the entire world. I forgot how long it took, but like that's another stamina feat. But that's not really gonna play too much into Naruto at first, unless you're kind of like Naruto once he get like Sage of Six Paths, then yeah, you would make that argument.
The trees are pretty good, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Also, thank you.
RDSJ.
I know what they're talking about, though. I know exactly what they're talking about.
Dollar bomb. Didn't even drop a comment. He says, I'm too cool for comments. He doesn't talk about...
Balls or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, the trees are pretty good, bro.
Yeah.
He says, I'm too cool for comments. I just dropped $10 clones. Literally watched Kakashi versus Appa's on the bridge. Yeah, he made quite a few. He can make more than a few, especially later during the war. But he is building up into some better stamina feats for Naruto, but he's not even talking about the best statement.
Now, Luffy is also a stamina powerhouse. This started from his early life, given that...
He didn't talk about, like, you know, the Raikage being able to fight for, like, a week, the third Raikage. And third Raikage doesn't have nearly as much chakra as Naruto. He doesn't talk about the near infinite statement of Naruto. Naruto in the Boruto guidebook is stated to have a near infinite well of stamina. The Nine Tails is stated to have a near infinite well of stamina.
Okay, so then my question would be this. In terms of, like, if you can measure for me, what will be, because saying, like, near infinite, right? Like, okay, so what does that mean? Like, in terms of, like, how much does he got? Because you can't say, like, near infinite, because, like, I'll do this one. Like, I need a number on that. Like, don't say near infinite.
The Ten Tails.
Like, I need a number.
There's just a lot of statements that Naruto.
I need a number on that.
It's just like ridiculous. he was able to get half of his chakra drained and still bodied Momoshiki.
Okay.
And basically, like, the reason why that's impressive is, like, him being able to body Momoshiki is because he was absorbing chakra from, like, outside of the universe. So, like, he was absorbing the entire universe's chakra, and then his chakra was going outside of that dimension, absorbing chakra from exterior to that. And Naruto just still can incorporate more chakra into his attacks than him at.
How legitimate is that? I wonder. Because that right there sounds outlandish as fuck. Like, let me see if I can find what he was talking about. Let me go to Google real quick. I think this is who he's referring to. Nah. I mean, this is not a good example, but it's the closest I can find. There we go. Power and stats. Okay, here we go. Power and stats. Okay, so superhuman physical characteristics, martial. Okay, then that's not really what matters. I'm looking for stamina. Okay, so its attack potency and base is moon. Which indicates that they should be comparable to her. From base Naruto. Chakra pills. Provide an amplification moon. Dispatch of the Kage, like Sogara and Dari. He higher with Lava Golem or powers till his Kurama Avatar and Chakra Pills. Okay, so yeah, the problem with the whole okay, so this one I have in like context because I know for a fact I think Kaguya in general, I don't know if this was like when she absorbed the fruit or ate the fruit, or was it before she ate the fruit? But are they comparing her before or after she ate the fruit? Okay, that's speed. Where's stamina? Okay, Superman can fight for a prolonged period. Doesn't say anything. And that's not really. Okay, no. And the renegade in his right arm, right hand, well, she can release those. He's from the renegade. He obtains from his pill those to amplify their power several times over. Okay? Okay. Okay, so that's what we got. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, as far as the absorption thing goes, Oh, wait, actually, yeah, I should have did this earlier. Actually, I'm such an idiot. I should have did this earlier. Okay. Okay. Is it? Oh, what the? Was it a data book? This is what I'm getting. Yeah, no. Damn it. It's the closest I'm ever gonna get. And still nothing. Has eaten measurably high. Has eaten countless plants worth of chakra. Yeah, I don't see. No. Yeah, but whatever. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna.
Half power. So Naruto's just got like a ridiculous amount of chakra, man.
Not necessarily. If you're basing, my argument is this: if you're basing that solely off of just Momoshiki alone, because now that I think about it, back on it, it's like, yeah, Naruto would have ridiculous stamina. Like there's no doubt that. There's no doubt of that. He has ridiculous stamina. Like the Momoshiki thing is what I'm like being a little iffy on, because like, really? Because that sounds like some fan shit.
But yeah.
As a young child, his Navy Vice Admiral, Grandfather Garf,
thousands of clones
Luffy through life and death training scenarios, like throwing him off a bottomless cliff, or leaving him to survive in the jungle by himself at night, or tying him to a balloon and send him.
What?
Okay.
I mean, is he acting like Naruto didn't get thrown off a cliff or thrown into the jungle at night?
That's what you're arguing about?
Man, the forest of death and literally getting thrown into Gamabunta's pit.
Yeah.
And also, this is kind of just durability, like, but
yeah,
like thrown into the jungle, like that's your survival ability. It's not really your stamina. Like, I pushed you.
No, but that can lead into stamina, because that you're surviving in a jungle, and you're wasting stamina doing that. That's not an argument. I was like, yeah, that does, because you're being thrown. Like, let's say I throw you on an island real quick, right? And I tell you to survive for 3 days. 3 days. 100% you're using up stamina just to survive those 3 days. That is still using stamina.
You over bottomless cliffs. Hey, that's an infinite durability feat, man. Fell in it. No, I'm just playing.
No, it's not. No, I was like, yeah, this is. Well, I guess the stamina argument would be him climbing up, right?
You on a balloon and sent you flying in the sky.
I was like there's arguments for these, like, easily, because I like for this one in particular, like, it's talking about like that's really just durable. Nah, or that's not really a stamina feat. That actually is, because one, you're thrown in there overnight, which means you're wasting up stamina just to survive. Like, survivability in itself is also intrinsically linked to stamina, because you're surviving overnight, and that wastes up stamina. Like, for example, like, say you and me go camping, right? You and me go camping, but we have to make our own food, and we have to effectively just start humanity over from scratch. So effectively, it'll be like if I had to use an example, let's say stranded, we're in a stranded deep situation. Like we gotta pay attention to our food intake, our water intake, because if we don't eat properly or we don't drink properly, that's gonna have a or we don't even sleep properly, that's gonna fuck with our stamina.
Yeah, this is just like him surviving. It's not really stamina. I mean, it kind of is stamina.
No, it directly is stamina.
Yeah.
Because your survivability is tied with your stamina.
Him flying in the sky. And then throughout Luffy's current journey, we have seen where he has fought powerful characters like Charlotte Cracker and his Infinite Cracker warriors for over 11 hours non-stop. And even while fatally injured, we see where Luffy, through sheer willpower, just keeps going until he gets the job done. For example, Luffy had a protracted battle with Hordy Jones, even while his blood volume was rapidly being depleted after a fatal bite from Hordy. And even after defeating Hordy and in a critical state, Luffy was still going all out trying to destroy Noah, and he only allowed himself to stop and register his wound after he realized that Fishman Island was safe from Noah. And Luffy at this point was in such a critical state that after he stopped, he had to receive a blood transfusion from Jinbe. And in his fight against Katakuri, we again see where Luffy was fatally
before he gets into Katakuri, pause for a second. I will say Hordy Jones is like the first villain post time skip. He's not exactly that strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Like, while Luffy...
He isn't, but you can still use him. If he's talking about it in a case of he doesn't push him to his limit, like yeah, you can make that argument, but like in that regard, so it's not really gonna change much.
Like you can say like Luffy's going all out, but then that makes it really weird later. I always felt like the idea behind Hordy was that he was supposed to be the character that Luffy kind of shows off his new kit to, you know?
Yeah, that was the whole emphasis of that arc, is showing just how far that was the whole emphasis of that whole arc was showing off how strong the Straw Hats got over time, to the point where, and this is something that I hate that a lot of people do, and they completely skip this arc over, like it's not important for like overall power scaling, and it's like this arc is like the single most important arc you can use for power scaling, and I'll tell you why. Because first off, the thing that was introduced with Hordy Jones in particular was the energy steroid, and you can actually use Hordy Jones with this energy steroids, which if you take one, it doubles. Take two, it quadruples. Take three, it increases it by 8-fold. So yeah, it has an increase to it that you can use straight off of, like you can like apply that straight to like where they are now in terms of like his overall attributes. You can absolutely use Fishman Island, but a lot of people skip that over like it just doesn't exist, which is something I absolutely detest.
Yeah.
So, I mean that's fine if you want to say him losing blood, but
I mean it's not a very good stamina feat either way. Like,
okay, explain.
Yeah.
It's
explain.
Not durability or good stamina. Like 11.
Okay, explain.
Hours is fine, but even if you just want to take the war arc into consideration, Naruto fought for 3 days, like at max power, with while also splitting his clones up across the battlefield. Yeah, you know?
And that's like share like the.
Actually, it is a good stamina feat because he's burning through it just to stop a fucking ship.
Fatigue of all those clones too when he releases them.
So like if Naruto doesn't have to worry about the Shinobi Alliance and like regenerating them all and then like also splitting his chakra in half with like dozens of clones that spread across the battlefield and are having their own like Kage level fights and like throwing Rasen shurikens left and right, his stamina is pretty ridiculous, bro. So I don't know, like I'll just have to see. I don't know of any good Luffy stamina feats, but I just feel like this is not the category to be banking on.
Spear of Mogura, which ripped off a significant portion of his abdomen, and he endured this while also enduring a one-sided beatdown for the majority of their over 13-hour-long fight before somehow miraculously managing to pull off a win. And in their fight,
that's dishonest. Pause.
Why?
Okay.
No, what happens with the spear is that Luffy gets stabbed with the spear. If you actually, we see it on the video screen thumbnail, you can see how there's like the wound in Katakuri's side. Katakuri figures out that one of his sisters actually shot Luffy with like a trank dart, and that's why he got hit by the spear.
Okay.
And Katakuri is like pissed, so he stabs himself with the spear to like even it out.
Okay, that's not dishonest because he doesn't. If that were the case, he would have said a threat. That's not dishonest. And here's how it's not dishonest because he didn't bring up. He didn't say Katakuri was still fresh. That's not dishonest, my guy.
Wait, what? So yeah. he evens it out, and then does he just like fall unconscious?
No, like they keep fighting, but it's not like Luffy was like the only one injured like that. I'm saying they're like evened out.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, he doesn't scale the full powered Katakuri or whatever.
You can say that at the time. That's kind of a different argument, but it's like it's not like stamina. Like, oh, Luffy was like so injured and he beat down Katakuri while Katakuri was.
Yeah, but also at the same time, that guy was still holding on despite all that, and even then, even when Katakuri did injure himself, it still was a pretty one-sided beatdown. So yeah, that's not dishonest.
Fine, no. Katakuri injured himself there.
Again, even when he injured, even when Katakuri was injured, he was still dominating. Not saying that it doesn't matter, that didn't matter, but it didn't matter a lot, if that makes sense. It didn't matter to like an extreme factor because this was still a one-sided beatdown.
That makes sense, yeah.
Oh, miraculously managing to pull off a win. And in Gear 5, he seems to be able to just force his body to get back stamina. We saw this in his fight against Kaido, where he started to get an aged appearance, seemingly related to his life force, or at least his stamina, being rapidly depleted as a side effect of Gear 5. But then Luffy just told his heart to get loud again, and this somehow completely rejuvenated him, allowing him to continue to fight. So now let's move on to...
Another big thing he should have talked about with Naruto's stamina is that he can replenish his pool with Sage Energy and the Nine Tails inside of him. Okay? So he can have the Nine Tails give him Sage Energy while he fights. So he can...
That will require him to, like, send off a clone of Kurama somewhere where Naruto and Luffy aren't fighting for that to work.
And also replenish his pool. Not to mention chakra just naturally replenishes.
Not saying, again, I'm not directly saying that isn't possible. I'm saying, like, there's a factor. Yeah, but you're skipping over a factor there. A very particular factor in the case that he would have to send off a clone of Kurama to do that.
Over time.
In order to be able to do that, because they're both... When he's in that mode, they're both using their chakra at the same time.
Anyway, and that's... amplified by the fact he has the Nine Tails inside of him. So Naruto's stamina like perpetually keeps growing. And yeah, that's basically...
Except in that mode, because they're both in that mode, that won't really matter that much. Because if he's in that mode, not only is he using his own chakra, but he's also using Kurama's chakra at the same time.
Basically it.
I think a big issue about trying to use Gear 5 now is that we know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Now that's disingenuous. Now, it's not that we know nothing. We know what he made a mistake saying. What he said was a complete mistake by saying we don't know nothing. We do know some things that Gear 5 is capable of. For instance, Gear 5, like he just showed on screen, he's capable of jumping right back into it and getting back stamina. He shows that on screen. Another thing that Gear 5 does is that it frees up his ability to use his rubbery abilities. As the name implies, it gives him more freedom with his rubber. And there's other things that it can do, but that's a spoiler in this regard. There's another thing that's also capable of doing, though it was like hinted at, but it wasn't shown. So that's what I say, like, we know very little. We don't know a lot. It's what you're trying to say is that we don't know a lot, not that we know nothing at all. We just don't know a lot. But one of the things that we do know is that when he goes to his mode, he can, like, let's say he does like a Gear 3 ability, like and expand. He can expand his body to however much he can, or however much he can like imagine he could do, or he can like literally grow, make himself gain muscles, or he can legit just turn around into fucking rubber, or he could just use the clouds. He can run on fucking air. He can run on air, and he can literally make himself gigantic. And that's all because of Gear 5 giving him complete freedom. Because as stated by one of the Gorosei members, that the Hito no Mi Madonika, once it's awakened, gives the user's rubbery body more strength and greater strength and freedom. And the freedom factor is in the case that he can do anything he wants. He even says so himself, I can do everything I've always wanted to do, and this is my peak.
So it's like,
it's just kind of questionable whether or not it like actually is giving you a supermassive like stamina pool or something. I mean, I'm sure it does.
Yeah. It doesn't give him a giant stamina pool, but he's able to get back some level of stamina.
We just don't really know what it should be able to do, what it shouldn't.
Yeah.
I agree that there's more to this fruit that we don't know about, but to say that we know absolutely nothing that is disingenuous, because we do know some things. We do know some things. We just don't know a lot. Sorry, my desk is very dusty.
Especially because it's like unique in series too. Like it's not like Luffy's like the fifth person to awaken, because that's what Gear 5 is. It's his awakening.
Yeah.
His is like they made it special, so it's even more out the window about what it does.
Just based on this guy's arguments, the best stamina feat he provided was that 11 hours feat, which is just worse than what Naruto did in the War Arc. So, I mean, just based on these alone, Naruto.
Yeah, I think there's a statement about Katakuri being 12, but that's not really relevant. Like 1 hour.
Naruto's abdomen. Naruto was so composed mentally that he could even fake scream and act like he was in pain when he actually wasn't. And when impaled by multiple of Ishiki's rods,
is this relevant?
Naruto is just casually talking to Ishiki. No, as it relates
I guess
to
it's showing his pain tolerance. But like,
yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna like make Naruto quit through pain. Like that's just pretty obvious.
Beat so bad with Aokiji that he had to like think up new forms. He was like that butthurt about it. Aokiji specifically, you're fine as long as you get thought out properly too. Like Aokiji wasn't trying to kill him, so.
Okay, so yeah, most of the time.
No, he was. They just was quick about it. And if anything, you could say he wasn't, in the case that he let him go, and he could have easily just fucking kicked him, and that was the end of Luffy right there.
When Luffy does get impaled, he just kind
of... But I get what he's saying. I take that back.
Messed up by it then. So.
Multiple occasions.
Yeah,
he has...
Yeah, I mean, he looks pretty messed up right there, man. Like...
yeah, like, he's not...
You can look messed up, but if you're able to get fucking back up, then that doesn't make... Him looking messed up, it's not really the... not really gonna matter.
From it the same way Naruto does. It's something he has to cope with for at least the fight, you know?
Been completely
okay, that means he has a high pain tolerance then.
Buried alive. He has had all the moisture drained from his body.
Naruto doesn't suck moisture out of people, so I don't think this is relevant.
No shit, dumbass. That's no. Take that back. Like that's a literal no shit moment, because, like, of course he doesn't do that. That again, that's to showcase his durability, not his. Not saying that Naruto's capable of doing that. Well, that's not what he's arguing about.
Yeah, and even when that happens, Luffy got replenished right.
And even then, as you saw, he literally let him live. He got frozen solid. That means from the inside and out.
After by water too. So
like if you take if you literally. Because you got to keep this in mind. Luffy is not a normal person at all anyway. Like you put a normal person up against that, and they get frozen solid. They're 100% dead.
Okay, so it was exterior. Like if there's water nearby, then he can replenish.
No, it has to be hot water.
When he was fighting Crocodile, he did that thing kind of like what Goku did against Hit.
Oh, sorry, I'm like he was talking about Crocodile.
Second time where he shot some water in the air, and then after Crocodile drained him, the water hit him, and he was like fine again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was smart. Okay, so that, if anything, I would say that's a smart move on his. That's a IQ move on Luffy's part because he knew, oh shit, I'm about to get drained. Shoot it up and wait for it to hit him.
He has had to withstand the effect of storing over 100.
Now technically this is more of a stamina feat. I actually agree with this one. This is more of a stamina feat. But I can get where they say, like, I think, no, he's talking about mental durability. So yeah, he like withstood getting that amount of shadows put into him, and then like I believe he says we can only take 2 or 3 before like getting knocked out, and this dude took 100 of those
shadows in his body when even 2 to 3 is enough to knock a normal person out completely. And to top it,
okay, so if 2 to 3 can knock a normal person out, if 100 is inside of you, man, let's just highball this. That's 50 like normal men getting knocked out. Like that's if you highball what he said, that's 50 normal men.
If we compare that, right? Like, and we say like, obviously he said he doesn't want to equalize, but I don't care, right? But that's like spiritual stuff. That's what your shadow is in One Piece. It's like a spirit almost, in a way.
Yeah.
So the like spirit of 50 people. Now, I wonder how many people are in the Shinobi Alliance that Naruto was able to
40,000.
Yeah. So.
That's tying to his stamina. This is mental durability. You jackass.
Yeah.
How many? Hey, buddy. How many? Like that's. I'm trying to process what he just said there because it's like, what's the argument for? Because that was the argument for. If you're talking about stamina, that's the argument for stamina. He's talking about mental durability. Or like basically your ability to like hold on without getting knocked the fuck out. And there's a difference between someone's physical stamina, because that's physical stamina, that's mental stamina, buddy.
I'm pretty sure the novel says something different about how many died too. It actually has a lesser number, so there's actually probably did more people
till they die, followed by being left in a frozen wasteland.
No. Normal men getting knocked out. Like that's if you highball what he said, that's 50 normal men.
Is there a way to speed this along?
If we realize, but I don't care, right? But that's like spiritual stuff. Shinobi Alliance.
Oh, I found
Naruto
it. I found
was
it.
able to.
The novel says something different about how many die.
Person and makes them experience coated with a powerful neurotoxin that paralyzes a person and makes them experience excruciating pain until they die, followed by being left in a frozen wasteland
Now,
while
pause again. He's lying again.
Okay, what's he lying about?
He needed like hormones to help him.
Really?
Yeah, there's this revolutionary.
He didn't lie because he didn't bring it up yet.
Named Ivankov, who has like the hormone fruit, and effectively.
He didn't lie about anything because he still withstood that. And if anything, you're making this argument even better by bringing up Ivankov. And even then, when he got hit, no, you're lying 100% because, like, that just helps this argument even more because, for anyone who doesn't know, Ivankov, when you get hit with the hormone shot, all it does is give you like the slightest % chance to survive. The rest, he had to 100% fight off the rest of the toxin. What the energy thing did was give him a 3% chance to survive. That's all it did. That's not a lot.
What she has to do is she has to like kick you into like overdrive effectively, and it drains you.
Yeah, and it takes 10 years off your lifespan, but it only gives you the slightest chance to survive. Like, he still was on death's door.
years off your life, and Luffy had to be like locked in a room for like a whole day.
Now, yeah. So basically, now you're being you're half truth in this because, like, buddy, you're half truth in this because you forgot that all it does is give you a 3% chance. That's it. 10 years off your lifespan for a 3% chance. That is not high.
To like recover from it.
That's what I said. You're being disingenuous.
Okay, well that makes sense then.
Didn't pain on.
Yeah, but he forgot to tell you that was only a 3% chance. So that's not pretty high. So he still could have died.
I mean, again, Naruto doesn't really inflict pain on people, so I mean, like it'll happen.
Like that's not an argument.
Happen as a byproduct.
That's not what he's arguing about. He's not saying he's going to do that.
That's not the win con. I'm more so thinking, a truth-seeking orb in the ass. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, we'll get into that. We'll get into that when he gets to that because I'm about to absolutely destroy this argument.
Sacrificing 10 years of his life to undergo a battle with himself while literally bleeding out his blood volume.
Yeah, so why'd you say he was lying when he brings it up?
Before finally beating the odds to recover. So neither of these characters.
Yeah, and even Cuff said this. That was that is beyond a fucking miracle that he was able to pull that off. That was a complete miracle that he was able to pull that off because it wasn't a high chance.
Any problem dealing with pain. Now, physical durability can be thought of in two categories: intrinsic physical durability and extrinsic physical durability. Intrinsic physical durability describes how the body responds to an attack that actually hits it when it is not defended using any special measures. So an example of this is Kaido's bare body. That is to say, his natural body, without using the external coat of armor that is armament haki, cannot be damaged by
pause
normal...
for a second.
Okay, so he's just saying, Naruto when he's not in his higher cloaks versus Naruto when he's just in base.
I think he's trying to, say that Kaido, when he's not using, armament haki, is, weaker, and I don't think
that's not what he's arguing.
Armament haki is the only way to guard yourself in One Piece. I don't think that's how that works.
That's not what he's arguing. He's showing the character that has a just almost impossible durability, just straight up dang near impossible.
I think
and he's matching up to that.
You can be off guard and not use armament, and I also think you can be on guard and choose not to use it. We do know later it is stated that Kaido's skin is especially tough, and that Luffy pre Gear 5 needed to use durability negation effectively to hurt him because he couldn't otherwise. So we do know that, but I think
so we know that his durability is special in the case that it needs something as simple as durability negation to actually be able to be effective in being able to actually damage Kaido. He needed durability negation.
Durability can also just be that high, as well. So I don't really think this.
That's not no. You were right the first time. It's because his durability is special because of his dough fruit giving him his Azure Dragon Fruit literally makes his durability that stupidly good to the point where regular spears or swords or him getting hanged or literally dropping from a 10,000 meter drop from a sky island onto another island wasn't enough to kill him.
Case of they have this higher durability beforehand, it's really gonna work.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't really matter because Naruto can react to Momoshiki in base. So
what's that got to do with the argument?
Yeah.
And he also just has a bunch of good base feats in general. And Sage.
Yeah. Again, okay. Would you like to bring that up at some point?
Way it's fine.
I mean,
you're gonna show us, or you're just gonna say it and just move on?
Dropping 10,000 meters from a sky island and cannot be damaged by piercing or slashing attacks.
Oh no,
that's a no limits fallacy. Hold on, I got this one.
For one, there's that, but no, falling from the sky, that's not that impressive. That's probably weaker than the...
My guy, has your character fallen that height?
Buggy bomb, if anything.
Yeah.
If you calced it out.
I mean, even if you calced out like this, like explosion, like it's not much bigger than this building, like this castle. So I mean, it's not going to generate good results.
You can find calcs for like people falling from orbit, and it's not that impressive.
Yeah, like the
Okay, so you got like you're gonna show off that or no?
best you might be able to get from this is island level or something, like, and that.
In terms of durability, you do realize he fell from the sky without trying, right?
It's just wanking, man.
And if anything, yeah, that isn't impressive because he still got back up and said all he got was just a minor headache. So yeah, it's not that impressive when you think about it, because it would take something even stronger than that to kill him.
Yeah, but the piercing attacks are not this sort of, you know, oh, well, you're like, whatever tier, well, I have a sword. No, all a sword or needle, whatever does is it just focuses the area of effect down to a really small level, so your skin isn't as strong.
Yeah.
So imagine you're playing.
Okay, but Kaido literally debunks what you're saying by literally, and on top of that, it's literally shown on the screen of this man getting hit with a spear and a sword and a guillotine, and those things breaking, which means that his durability is strong enough to withstand that.
Like a Red Rover, right? And everybody's linked together, and you run at like 10 people, you can't break through. But if you like run up to just one person, you can just like kick him in the dick and walk through or whatever.
Yeah.
No issue.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This is the part of the video where they get into like the whole physics. When this is a versus battle, like physics rarely plays a factor into this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
and
like
cannot be damaged by piercing or slashing attack.
And on top of that, you're literally denying, like, what they're arguing against. They're arguing against the mangaka showing you that is the case in this. That is the case with this particular character.
Yeah, that's what's called the no limits fallacy. He's just saying because he survived a guillotine, that means he could survive all piercing and all slashing attacks. Or he didn't.
He's saying that he can survive normal piercing and slashing attacks. He didn't say all. You're just putting words in his mouth.
Say all specifically, but he generalized. He just said he can survive slashing and piercing attacks. Well,
yeah, that's generalizing. Doesn't necessarily mean like. Okay, so now we're being like that. That is a little bit petty to say that because shit, I'm losing my mind. I'm like arguing. I can't words because like there's so much for me to say with that argument because like even if that is generalization, that doesn't necessarily mean all types. And if I were to make this argument for him, what he's specifically referring to, especially with on screen, is that he can't be cut, pierced, or slashed with normal stuff like swords, axes, or spears, or anything of the sort. Anything that's normal like that wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Like unless that's the thing with One Piece characters. Like, well, that's the thing with One Piece in general. And this is one of those things where I was like, I can see why you would have that thought process, but you're overthinking it. Overthinking it in the case that you're overthinking it by making the assumption that he's means that in the no limits fallacy. And even if that were the case, that's not really the argument. Like that's literally how it works there. There, you get a devil fruit that gives you, like, say, that's what I say. It's like I would hate to see these dudes, like, actually, I would hate to show this guy a Logia user who absolutely loses his fucking mind about how their abilities work and how, well, technically speaking, you might as well just make the argument that any form of attack wouldn't work on a Logia user because they can literally go intangible. Like that's really a nonsense. This is a nonsensical argument. On top of that, what you're doing is called a speculation fallacy because what he's telling you is what the series has given him to work off of. And as far as it concerns with Kaido, yeah, technically he is immune to this type of stuff unless it has a specific mechanism that allows allows it to bypass, then no.
I don't think he's gonna survive a Chidori from Sasuke, which is
no, he'd be able to survive that.
A piercing attack. I don't think he could survive the raw.
Again, that's speculation fallacy, though. Like what you're doing is speculation fallacy.
And Shuriken, which is a slashing attack that specifically bypasses durability. So
that you might actually make an argument with, but in the case of but I would have to go into the specifics about how the Rasen Shuriken works, because what it specifically does is that it burrows into the opponent's body to specifically target the chakra network. So durability negates in that way, but it's not like actually going to do straight damage to him because his durability is that high.
And I definitely don't think he could survive the truth-seeking orb.
Again, that's speculation,
which I would consider to be a piercing attack.
Yeah, but what is the prerequisite with it? Does it durability negate or no?
As well, just because of how it functions. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think like blades are that impressive.
Yeah, it's about how strong the blade is, right? It's who's swinging it.
Yeah.
No, in the case of One Piece, that doesn't matter. In the case of One Piece, when it comes to like how strong a person swings or whatever, fuck, doesn't really matter. That rarely matters here. Actually, it doesn't even matter at all, because you got characters like fucking Enel, who's 100% lightning. So if you were to throw or swing your sword at him, all you gotta do is turn intangible and then touch the fucking sword and fucking electrocute you to death.
Because a blade doesn't just bypass armor. That's like the entire reason armor was invented, was to block out swords.
What's that got to do with this?
Happens is you have to have a weapon that has enough energy put behind it to go through armor, right? And a sword is good at slicing through skin because it's focusing like how your swing on a very
doesn't really matter.
Small point. It's like
doesn't matter.
Imagine chopping a vegetable.
In the case of One Piece, it doesn't matter because this character's durability is strong enough to withstand that. So it doesn't matter how hard he swings. It's not going to matter unless it has a specific prerequisite. Because now we're just getting into now we're just banking on real world physics at that point.
You can chop a vegetable with a knife really easy. Now, if you apply the same force you're applying to the knife to chop a vegetable, but instead of a knife you have a ping pong paddle, it's just not going to chop, man. Like, you're not going to...
Yeah, it's going to squish, dumbass!
Going to chop a carrot with a ping pong paddle.
Yeah.
Unless...
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm losing my composure. Like, yeah, no stuff.
You put way more force in. It's because you're focusing all that energy on the blade itself. Okay, yeah. The area of effect is much smaller.
Again, doesn't really matter unless it has a specific prerequisite.
Smaller. So the difference between that, like the energy being focused on a blade, and a bludgeoning attack, that like a sledgehammer, right, is that the energy is just spread out over different surface areas. So
it doesn't matter.
It's all really. It's still just kinetic force. Like that doesn't change. So piercing attacks don't have some kind of.
Okay, then you would say he would get damaged by the kinetic force, but then I would actually make the argument. Okay, you would have to prove that he can get hurt by just pure kinetic force. Then just say getting cut.
Property that make them different from bludgeoning attacks. The only difference between them is just the surface area and the how spread out the energy is.
I'd like to respond to chat real fast. Thank you, Big Chief, for the $10 dono. Thanks for the video, Zoro and Luffy. Because Luffy punches, Zoro uses a sword, and then Sanji kicks.
Yeah.
And if you compare the surface area between those, the gap between them has to be massive. It's like not even funny.
Yeah, but yeah, piercing and slashing weapons don't just bypass durability just because they're piercing and slashing. The way things bypass durability is through being so small it goes between like molecules and like attacks you on a really fundamental level.
Okay, well then you have to make the argument that he could make attacks. Naruto would have to make attacks that are small enough to do that. But again, doesn't really matter.
where the armor isn't actually dense enough to stop you from swiping through it. So that's
But it is dense enough to do that.
That's where bypassing durability, like soul attacks, like they don't even interact with armor at all, things like that.
Okay, that would be soul erasure, not durability negation then.
But thank you again, Big Chief, for the $10 donut. Yeah, I mean, he is just a...
Casually tanking kicks.
Okay, I'm going to get to this next part here, and then I'm going to call it a day on this video, or at least on this specific part of the video.
Which propel him through a stadium wall, and tanking an explosion which is strong enough to blast through a portion of their moon. So it is safe to say that he's pretty tough. Then, as it relates to Luffy, the devil fruit he ate grants him the properties of rubber, which comes with certain intrinsic immunities. One such immunity is a complete resistance to electric or lightning based attacks, and the other immunity is a complete
I mean, again, kind of another no limits fallacy.
No, it's not. He's only telling you that it gives... The fruit gives him this specific immunity. Not that he's fully immune to every single damage type in existence. Now that would call... Now, if he said that, then yeah, you would make... Yeah, that would be cause for like no limits. But no. He's specifically talking about lightning, not necessarily every single damage type in existence.
As I'm sure if like Cthulhu...
Again, speculation fallacy.
A Cthulhu level thunderbolt.
Because there's no reason or statement or panel shown to suggest that he is not 100% immune to lightning. As a matter of fact, he gets hit like 3 times, technically 5 times by lightning from Enel, and it still did jack shit. And if you were to limit the argument, I'll go even further by saying Big Mom, when she had Zeus, hit Luffy with lightning, and she's technically stronger than Enel. So, by proxy, our lightning should be much stronger than Enel's. And when she hit Luffy while he was in Gear 4, it did shit. It did nothing.
At Luffy, he'd probably still die,
No, it wouldn't.
I mean, like, even though...
Again, you would have to show that.
He can resist all of the electric attacks in One Piece does not mean he would be able to resist electric attacks on higher levels that he's just never been shown capable.
Actually, he has been shown. How do you know that? You just say as far as I know, you just said you don't watch this. It's this. And yes, it has been shown that higher level, he has been hit by higher levels. Shit. The person we're talking about in question literally makes his lightning stronger by upping the voltage every single time, and it still did nothing. Which just means the author is telling you that it doesn't matter how strong the lightning is, it doesn't work. Because that's how his devil fruit works.
Full of resisting.
Congratulations, you discovered how Luffy's devil fruit specifically works.
Point about Luffy passively being rubber is something that a lot of people miss out on. It's pretty important,
Yeah, I mean, he is just a rubber boy.
Yeah, I mean, passive abilities are something that people don't understand in general.
I mean, like your friend did?
Heat resistance to electric or lightning based attacks, and the other immunity is a complete resistance to normal blunt force physical attacks such as kicks and punches. Now,
this is where we get into the whole idea of unless it has a specific prerequisite that allows it to bypass his rubbery durability, then yeah, you can't make that argument.
Discussions come up. Not many people will try to go against Luffy's immunity to electricity, but a lot of people will try to go against his immunity to regular blunt force physical attacks, saying things like, oh, Luffy's not really immune, he just has a high resistance. You can definitely hurt him if you hit him hard enough. Now, Luffy's immunity to regular blunt force physical attacks has been a central theme throughout the manga from literally the second chapter.
That's cool, but we saw him get stabbed by a spear earlier.
That's a spear. He says blunt force. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't.
Again, you're making it seem like getting punched and getting hit with a spear is the same thing. They're not the same thing.
I think that what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think that this narrative theme, which is there, right? Like Luffy is relatively immune to people in One Piece, right?
Yeah.
It's not that he's not relatively immune to people in One Piece, he's immune to 2 specific things. Here's how Luffy's devil fruit works. His Gum fruit, or the Hito Itanomi Madonika, gives his body the property of the rubber. What that comes with is lightning immunity and blunt force physical attack immunity. So in other words, if he gets hit with a club or gets punched, not gonna work. Gets hit with electricity, not gonna work. He can still get pierced by, like, say, a spear or hit with cut by a sword. Those will still do damage, but these 2 will not. I don't get what you're arguing for. As a matter of fact, the fucking series itself, like, the villains he comes across, makes it a point to use something that's different from what he's immune to. As a matter of fact, all devil fruit users that come, like, any person, including Luffy, that comes up against another devil fruit user, he has to think outside the box in order to actually do damage. Like, for example, when he was fighting Crocodile practically makes him, Crocodile's sand fruit practically makes him completely immune to, like, getting punched or slashed with a sword. But say, throw another prerequisite, like, say, water onto, like throw a liquid onto your fist, like water or blood, you can literally punch him and it'll actually do straight normal damage. That's how it works. Like, that's how these devil fruits work. Like, you can question how devil fruits work outside of the verse, but you can question. No, that's not what I should. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, you can question how these suckers work, but, like, it doesn't. It's pretty much given and shown that, yeah, that's how their abilities work. Because if we would just straight up ignore all that. If we were to just straight up ignore all that, and also, it's not like Naruto couldn't figure that out and find another way to beat him. That, like, you're going off the assumption that Naruto doesn't have other ways to try and beat him. Like, for example, like, say if I was doing this video, I'll say, okay, so I'll give you this. Frog Kumite will easily work on, or the Frog Strike will work on Luffy because it's shockwave-based attacks. It's shown in One Piece that shockwave-based attacks do work on him, or something of a similar vein. Like, for example, there's the impact dials, which we've seen actually works on him. What it does is that it absorbs the impact of anything. It doesn't matter how hard you hit it, it's still going to absorb all of it. And then once it's thrown back at the person, it's gonna do damage. Even to Luffy, because he got hit by impact dials and it actually hurt him because it was shockwaves. Same thing with, like, say, another example, Fishman Karate. Jinbei used his Fishman Karate on Luffy, and what Fishman Karate does is that it impacts the water molecules inside the body in order to do damage to a point where he even says even a rubber man like you will still fall to Fishman Karate because it utilizes shockwaves to impact the water molecules inside the opponent's body. So yeah, it's shown that he can get damage. He can get damaged by other means. It just means he can't get damaged in that specific way. Like, they're looking at how this. They're not looking at how it truly works. They're only focusing on these 2 specific things, and it's like, well, you're not thinking outside the box, and that's the point of One Piece, is that you have to think outside the box. You can't just, like, rely on a conventional brute force. That's not how it works.
He's immune to all physical hits ever. It's the same thing with the lightning thing. Like,
again, no, completely wrong. I'm just gonna leave this video off here for now. I might actually do a part 2 for this tomorrow, but yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you all later.